Are the days of 1000x returns really over? According to Vitalik Buterin, he doesn't think that we're going to see 1000x anymore. Based off of my own personal belief, I still believe that there's a lot of money to be made inside of crypto and that we are still very much young in the cycle of things. If Bitcoin goes beyond $100,000, do you really think that all of that money is just going to only stay in Bitcoin? Or do you still believe that it's going to trickle back down into some of these altcoin projects? I'm a firm believer that Bitcoin isn't going to be the only cryptocurrency used in the future, and that a lot of these other altcoins have a real use case moving forward. 1000x returns seems so crazy to even comprehend, yet it's something we've seen up to this point inside of cryptocurrency. Considering the trend of things, if we really are as young as we think we are in this cycle, there is really no doubt in my mind that we will see a lot of 1000x projects moving forward. If you love this video and find this video helpful, do myself a favor and leave a like, comment, and subscribe to this channel for more updates in the future. If you like my analysis and want more of it, click the invitation link in the description of this video, and there you're going to be able to get invited to my Discord server. I post all my private analysis, post signals, as well as have some very good interaction from some of my other members in there that also like to post some quality information for you guys to look over. Crypto is truly headed for exciting times, and I'm super excited to bring you today's video. With all of that being said, let's jump right into the video today. Welcome back everybody once again to today's video. As you can tell by my most recent upload schedule, I've been uploading every single day, and this is something that I'm going to continue to work on. I want to upload every single day for you guys, especially because of the fact the markets are picking up. Even when Bitcoin retraces, there's going to be a ton of fear inside of this market, and so I want to make sure that I'm giving it my all for you guys to help educate, to help provide structure and analysis moving forward with these markets. I'm extremely passionate about cryptocurrency. I've been around for a while. I've had the opportunity to trade multiple cycles and make a significant amount of money in the process. And so for me, I'm always looking to share my expertise. I'm not an expert by any means. I should say I'm more than happy to share my knowledge with you guys and help you guys to profit, because I know how much cryptocurrency changed my life, and it's truly a blessing for me to sit here and be able to do this and have a community behind me that really just respects what I do. It really means the world to me. Yesterday, or actually a couple days ago, we hit 100 subs. I forgot to talk about that. We're already up to about 117, but it just blows me away. I'm super thankful. Even though it's only 100 subs, I'm very fortunate to be in this position at all and to be able to make quality content for everybody. So thank you guys so much for the support, and let's jump right into the video today. So for today's video, I actually wanted to talk about something that is very exciting to me. I remember probably 4, 5, 6 months ago, I don't really remember exactly when, somewhere a few months back, Vitalik Buterin came out and said that he believed that the days of 1000x crypto returns are over. And I think that I disagree 100%. I personally believe that there is more than likely an opportunity for us to make 1000x returns through cryptocurrency. In fact, I think it's very likely that it happens. Now, I don't think that every altcoin will do that. I don't think that a lot of them are going to do it, but there is a probability that it could happen, and I do expect it to happen. Just based off of how early we are inside of this whole cycle of things. You got to think back, guys. Really, the average retail investor still has no idea what Bitcoin is. The way I like to compare it is to the internet bubble in the early 2000s. I mean, think about how many big tech stock companies you had just explode with the hype of the internet. And I would expect it to be very similar. I don't think that Bitcoin's going to go into its next cycle and then just leave all of these other ones behind. I think that it's more likely that we all have a very similar hype cycle where the average retail investor actually gets invested into some of these altcoins, even if it is them buying the top of those cycles. I think that that's what we're going to see in the next cycle. And so for me, what I'm looking for is, what are some of these 1000x projects that we could see? Now, over the last 3.5 years, I've been looking very hard and finding the most profitable setups that I can. For me, I'm less of a day trader, and I like to stick to bigger trend analysis following Elliott wave theory. And this is something that I've been really looking to fine-tune over the last year and a half over this bear cycle of things. Just looking to really fine-tune my strategy and figure out what works for me, and then ride it into the next cycle. And so for today's video, we're going to be talking about 2 altcoins that I am very excited about and that I do believe could see 1000x returns in the next cycle. Now, one thing you guys need to understand when it comes to my strategy with altcoins is that for me, I'm looking to trade based off of Elliott wave theory, obviously. Now, for me, there's a setup with Elliott wave theory that is the most probable and the most possible to be getting these massive returns that I'm talking about. So as you guys know, I trade based off of Elliott wave theory. Now, for you guys that do not understand Elliott wave theory is a simple theory that states that markets behave in human emotion, and they behave in these sets of 3 waves. Now, how these 3 waves work are you have the 1 wave, which is what starts the hype, and then the retrace is the even number into the 2, right? And then the next wave that happens is the 3 wave. Now the 3 wave is the biggest wave, it's the most hyped, there's the most volume, the biggest percent return on investment is made in the 3 wave, and this is really the most impulsive one of the cycle. And then you have the retrace into the 4. Remember, odds are the impulse and evens are the retrace. And then you have one final wave, which takes us to the top, which is the 5. Now, the way that the structure works with Elliott wave theory is the 1 wave is relatively the smallest. This is the one that starts the hype. This is where the smart money comes in and begins accumulating their positions. And then you have the impulsive 3 wave. Now, smart money buys the dip after the 1 or even before. Just in this 1 wave in general, they buy the dip, right? And then what happens next is the 3 wave. Now, once smart money buys the dip, this is what really starts the hype. And then you have the retail investors that are FOMOing in and buying up all of this greed all the way up to the top. And so this is what gives you the most impulsive wave. And then the 4 wave retrace is relatively the smallest retrace that you'll find because there's so much value propping the prices up for the next cycle into the 5. Now, with the 5 wave, in conventional Elliott wave theory based off of just regular markets, the 5 wave is usually about the same size as the 1 wave, and this is because this is when smart money is taking profits. So instead of having a big impulsive 3 wave, you're having a lot of sell pressure, which usually keeps it relatively small. However, one thing that I can say is in certain markets, such as like you have cannabis stocks, you even have commodities such as gold and silver, the 5 wave can overextend and actually be longer than the 1 wave. In fact, sometimes the 5 wave can overextend and be as big as the 3, or it can be bigger than the 1 and the 3 combined. It just depends kind of what happens with the market, how much value gets flooded in, and how much hype and greed you experience on the way up. With cryptocurrency, oftentimes you do see an extended 5 wave, but it's just something you have to watch out for. I don't need to get into too much detail about this. I'm giving you guys a rough example of Elliott wave theory so I can explain to you why I'm so excited about these projects. Now, if we come through here and delete these, I'm going to go through and analyze what I'm talking about. So SiaCoin is the first on the list because it's one that I've been watching for quite some time now, and it's one that I see setting up for a stupid return on investment, especially if you're accumulating down here in these lows. Now, based off of my wave count, I'm going to go through and analyze. So you have the 1 wave. Remember, the 1 wave is where the smart money buys the dip, or they buy down in here. And this is really the first impulse that we see. Now, after smart money accumulates, you have the biggest, most impulsive one, which is the 3. Now, notice how parabolic prices go, just basically straight up. And this is where you're usually gonna see the most volume. With cryptocurrency, oftentimes you just see more volume coming in with each wave up, and so it just kind of depends. Cryptocurrency is extremely volatile, and so it's not gonna behave accordingly to exact Elliott wave principle all the time. But then after the 3 wave, you have the 4 wave retrace, which is usually the slightest and smallest retrace, and then you have the final 5 wave up. Now notice how the 5 wave and the 1 wave are pretty much the same size. This behaves to Elliott wave principle really accurately. Now once you have the final 5 wave impulse, you have the ABC retrace back down. And this is what we saw, A, B, C. Now one thing that has me excited about this, and one thing I'm watching out for, is the fact that this C leg is coming at at the very base of this trend line that has held us for the length of this. Now keep in mind guys, after we bounced off of the trend line after the 2, prices really started to just distance themselves from the trend line, and that's something that happens inside of parabolic markets. It's not always just going to bounce off this trend line. In fact, it's going to leave the median line, and then it's going to go, or I should say it's going to leave the mean line, and then it's going to go into price discovery that's going to take it into incredibly high areas. And so this is what I'm watching out for, guys. We've actually come down and retested this trend line, and we're getting a nice rounded bottom accumulation pattern at this mean of the trend line. So I'm very excited about this for a couple reasons. Anytime prices come back down to react to a trend line in a positive way, oftentimes you can have trend lines that fell. If I were to draw something right here, we had right here, this was a trend line, and you could have said, oh, we have an inverse head and shoulder, or prices are starting to round out here, this is the bottom, and you would have been faked out, and then you would have had probably a 60% retrace, if not more than that. Yeah, 70% retrace to the bottom. And so this is something that can happen. Keep in mind, trend lines aren't always the most accurate tool to use. They are just one tool to use. You can have setups where you'll think that the trend line is just perfect. We've had multiple confirmational bounces off that, and then it'll sell off and fake everybody out, and then that's what really capitulates the market. So this is a possibility to watch out for. We could sell through this trend line, which is why it's important to set long-term stop losses if you are accumulating in these areas. But anyways, guys, based off of the current accumulation that we're seeing right here with this nice rounded bottom, on top of that, you have Bitcoin headed straight for major resistance. One pattern that I have noticed that happens inside of the cryptocurrency market is Bitcoin will make its move. It'll have a very impulsive cycle, and you'll notice that the alts will make little small moves, but they really won't be as impulsive as Bitcoin. And Bitcoin will more or less just hold them back down. But what happens is once Bitcoin actually ventures to that major resistance, we start to get some sell pressure, and then that is when the money starts to leave Bitcoin. All of the profits that were made inside of Bitcoin to put the prices up to that resistance start to come back down and trickle back down into some of these alt markets. And that's a cycle that has happened, and I've watched it happen many times with trading these cycles in the past. And it's something that I'm expecting to see again with this current cycle. As you guys know, Bitcoin's been suppressing these altcoins in this time. Bitcoin's basically already at that 6K resistance, and so once we do get major selling coming from that Bitcoin market, I do expect that money to kind of come back down and diversify into some of these altcoins. So with all of that being said, now is a great time to be buying, in my opinion. Keep in mind, this is not financial advice. This is what I'm doing personally. Now, let's get into why I expect this to be a good investment. Now, if you were to buy today, right where current prices are at, let's mark it here, and hold just to the all-time high of the last move. Let's see. Let me zoom in here so I'm getting it close enough. Can't really see. All right. That takes us to about a 37x return, and that's just to the all-time high. So if you put $100 in this today, it went to the all-time high and you sold, you would make $3,700 back. That is a big investment. That's a small investment to get a big return, I should say. And so this is one of the reasons why I'm super hyped about this. But one other reason, and the big reason of all, why I actually believe that this is a 1000x coin, is because based off of Elliott wave theory, markets behave in 3 sets of 3, right? So you have 1, 3, 5, and then inside of this wave you have 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. So you have 3 sets of 3 in each wave all the way up. Now, based off of that principle, we've had 2 sets, meaning this entire cycle is only the 1 wave, and this is the 2 retrace, and now we're getting the first signs of the next impulse out of this move. Now, with Elliott wave theory, and when it comes to actually setting realistic targets, I could sit here and draw a giant 3 wave and say it's gonna hit $100, but I don't know that, and I'm not going to sit here and try and label a target, because once these coins go into price discovery, it's impossible to know exactly how high they're going to get. You just kind of have to watch and see what's going to happen. So I don't find it likely or reasonable for me to even indicate a target for this next cycle, but what I can say is this is a one wave based off of Elliott wave theory. Now, let's go realistically draw where 1000x would be. Now, if you bought today, you have 100x, which would be at about 29 cents. Now 1000x is going to be just under $3, so about $2.90. This is going to be your 1000x target moving forward. And realistically, guys, this isn't, does this look unrealistic to you? Does it look like it's impossible for prices to go parabolic and hit this target right here? No, it doesn't. In fact, that looks likely. The 3 wave doesn't even look, it looks maybe about the same size as the 1. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's going to go significantly higher than that, because I do not know. But what I can say is the best probability and the best setup as far as risk to reward ratio comes if you buy the 2 in after the 1 wave impulse. And this is what we just saw within this entire cycle up. And so for me, I'm buying. I'm holding for the next couple years, and I'm going to look to just take profits and scale along the way up. I can say that I would, for this one, I'm at least holding to 100x. At least holding to 100x. I think that it's very likely and probable that we do hit this target of 100x. And so for me, I'm just buying. I'm going to hold until it hits that 100x target, and then that's when I'm actually going to start scaling up the higher it goes. And who knows, maybe I'm wrong and it doesn't go that high. You live and you learn, but based off of Elliott wave theory, this is such a good setup that I'm willing to put my money into it, and I'm willing to hold it for the next couple years to come. But anyways, guys, this is the first one on the list. This is SiaCoin. This is one that I'm very excited about for the simple reason that this is the best setup I've seen in quite some time with cryptocurrency as far as Elliott wave theory goes. Now, next up on the list, we have one, and this is one that I found just recently by scrolling through Twitter. I just happened to be posting some charts, and I saw some people talking about this, so I clicked on it, went and looked, and this cycle reminds me exactly the same as one that you guys all know very well. I'm going to drop this to a log chart. Now, you might be looking at this and you might be thinking, well, what's so special about this setup exactly? And I'm going to explain it to you. So if we go over to here, we're going to change this. You guys all remember the great Monero. Let me remove all my drawing tools here. You guys all remember Monero. Now, Monero was one that had a very impulsive cycle. In fact, this was one of the bigger rising alts where it basically just went straight up. Very few retraces, very few sell-offs, just parabolic. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because this coin that I'm about to show you is following the exact same cycle. Now, if you're in my Discord, you've already seen this comparison that I'm about to show you today. If you're not in my Discord, you are going to be very excited about what's to come inside of this, or so I believe based off of my opinion. But with Monero, you had this cycle that played out. We had this sell-off, where I'm actually going to label this a little bit. You had this sell-off. That took us down. And then you had these lows, and out of the lows, we made the one wave. And then what happens? Once the bull cycle starts, we have a very, very, very parabolic cycle. 3 wave takes us all the way up to here. Remember, the 4 wave is the smallest retrace. Usually, not always. And then you have the final 5 wave, which is about the same size as the 1. Basic Elliott wave theory, correct? Now, the reason why I bring this cycle up is because this coin here is following the same trend. Now, this is called Darrow. Darrow is not a popular coin by any means. I tried to look for some exchanges and they're very low quality, not a ton of volume, and they are pretty much underground for the most part. But anyways, the reason why I bring this up is because it's following basically the same exact trend here. And I'll go through and just kind of analyze some simple patterns. that I noticed between this cycle and the last with XMR. And you have the retrace. Now out of the lows, what happens? You start the one wave. One. Now with this is all price discovery. I have no idea how high it's gonna go. It could go lower than XMR, it could go higher than XMR, but I'm just watching to kind of see what's actually gonna happen. Now, the reason why I actually make this comparison to XMR is because of the fact this is a privacy coin. And in fact, it's a privacy coin that from a fundamental perspective, you could make the argument actually has better fundamentals than XMR. And that is, this is a privacy coin that is also a platform for smart contracts. Now, they have a very fast blockchain. It processes blocks in, I believe, 12 seconds is what their website says. And so this is a very good coin as far as a fundamental perspective goes. And it's one that I expect to follow XMR's accumulation cycle pretty much identically, considering the fact that it already has so far. This is basically the same cycle. Now, the reason why I say 1000x is because if we go back here to XMR back in the day, and we were to buy down here, and we were to hold. To the top of this cycle was 1000x from this low that we saw here. If you were to buy and hold to the top, that was 1000x that you would have made. Now if we come to Darrow, we're in that same low out of the one wave as Monero, down in here. We could be here, we could be here, but for the most part, we're in the one wave, retracing into the two. So now is the great time to be accumulating and looking to add to long-term bags. Now, from right here, let's go and actually label, if you were to buy today, where's 1000x? $1,000x takes us at $1,124. And that would be our 1000x target. So we'd have big one wave, huge 3 wave, and then to top it out, we'd have the final 5 wave impulse, and then it would look something like this. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say that it's going to 1000x, but based off of the growth cycle and accumulation cycle of Monero did do 1000x after the one wave. Now, not only is this coin following the same cycle as Monero, it's also a privacy token. Now, with this next cycle, there's gonna be a lot of money flooding into these altcoins, and so I'm expecting a lot of these to perform exceptionally well. I think that it's more than likely we do see 1000x returns in some of these altcoins. Which ones those are going to be, I have no idea. Based off of what I see with altcoins, the lower market cap, the better, obviously. If you buy some of these really low market cap coins, whether they have like 5 million, 10 million in market cap, and you're accumulating those now, and then they make it into the top 10 or maybe even just top 50 in the next cycle, that's going to be a very big return on investment for you because you bought when everything was so cheap. And so for me, I'm looking to accumulate some of these lower cap coins. I'm looking to accumulate some of these that are setting up in their one waves before we have a 3 wave impulse, because this is next cycle is going to be the biggest. It's going to be the most impulsive. There's going to be so much money flooding into cryptocurrency that you have the opportunity to make fortunes off of a very small investment, in a very least risky investment at that. But what's coming is going to be so big, and so the best thing that you guys can do, in my opinion, is look to accumulate these one waves, because there's so many of them. There's so many of them setting up across the market, whether they're in the big picture cycle, whether they're small picture like this one. It doesn't really change the fact that a lot of these are setting up for a ridiculous return on investment. So for me personally, I'm going to be accumulating the one wave. These are 2 coins that I'm actively accumulating right now. This is not financial advice. This is what I am doing. Use this advice at your own risk. I just wanted to show you guys what I'm going to be doing personally. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you found this video helpful, do myself and this channel a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates in the future. I really appreciate the support so much. I'm so excited with what's happening inside of cryptocurrency. There's very, very great things coming, and I'm super excited to have you guys a part of this team. Now, one final thing before we wrap up, if you like my analysis and want to see more of it, feel free to join my Discord server. We have over 70 members in there, many great conversations, lots of charting and analysis moving forward, and it's a very great place to get in, get involved with the community, and post some of your own analysis and even learn from some of these other guys that have been around for a while. If you would like to join my Discord, I will be posting an invitation link in the description of this video. Click on that description and it will take you to my invitation to my Discord server, and then you can make an account and do your thing. But anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for the support. I will catch you guys in the next one. As always, peace out.